Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, your journey, our passion. Dow Automotive Systems, improving durability and increasing design flexibility with Betamate structural adhesives at dowbetamate.com. And by Hyundai. Experience the 2011 Hyundai Sonata today at HyundaiSonata.com.
This is Autoline Daily for Friday, December 16th, and who does not appreciate the fact that it's Friday? Anyway, let's get to the news. The finalists for the North American Car and Truck of the Year Awards were announced. The organization is comprised of 50 automotive journalists from across the United States and Canada, and I am one of them. You know what that means? I'm a whopping 2% of the whole voting body. Anyway, we narrowed the list down to just 3 cars and 3 trucks out of all the new cars and trucks that came out this year. And the finalists on the car side are the Hyundai Elantra, Ford Focus, and Volkswagen Passat. On the so-called truck side, we have the BMW X3, Honda CR-V, and Land Rover Evoque. Which ones am I going to vote for? Well, I'm not saying until after the winners are announced at the Detroit Auto Show next month. You know, all these new cars are a great thing, but there is a downside to them. In Beijing, they now have some of the worst air pollution in the world. According to Bloomberg, pollution was so bad last week that hundreds of flights had to be grounded because the smog was so thick. On really bad days, one hospital says heart and stroke cases increase by as much as 40%. Okay, now for some important personnel appointments in the news. Fisker announced that Tom LaSorda will become the vice chairman of the board. LaSorda was the former CEO of DaimlerChrysler. He will be an executive advisor to the management team, reporting to co-founder and CEO Henrik Fisker. Another new hire at Fisker is Richard Beattie, who will be the chief commercial officer, which means he'll be in charge of marketing, sales, and customer service. Beattie had a long career at the Ford Motor Company, where he was president of Jaguar Land Rover North America, vice president of marketing at Lincoln Mercury, and also served as CEO of Mazda North America. And now over at Mercedes-Benz USA, Steve Cannon was named CEO with responsibility for Mercedes-Benz, Maybach, although that's not going to last too long, also Sprinter and Smart brands in the United States. Cannon replaces Ernst Lieb, who was tossed out for alleged financial irregularities. And over at Ford, they're creating their own advertising agency for Lincoln. As part of Team Detroit WPP, the yet-to-be-named agency will be based in New York City and headed by Cameron McNaughton, a veteran automotive marketing consultant. I call this next one the next big thing. Like it or not, the march towards autonomous vehicles is well underway. Things like lane keeping assist, blind spot monitors, and adaptive cruise control are just baby steps on the road to self-driving cars. A patent that Google was just awarded could turn out to be a giant leap forward. Autoblog reports that internet search giant was granted a patent for a vehicle that can switch from being human-driven to autonomously operated. Before the computer can take over, the pilot must direct the vehicle to a special so-called landing strip where there's a barcode affixed to the pavement. It's more complicated than we have time to explain here, so for all the gritty technical details, hit the link in today's show notes at Autoline.tv. Coming up next, Mark Fields explains how Ford is reacting to all the negative publicity it's been hit with regarding MyFord Touch and those touchy dual-clutch transmissions.
Reducing exhaust emissions, aerified diesel particulate filters, high filtration, low back pressure, small package size, excellent durability. DowAerify.com.
A year ago, Ford was lauded for its tremendous improvements in quality. Now it's being hammered for problems with MyFord Touch and its dual-clutch transmissions. So how is the company dealing with these issues? Well, my guest on Autoline this week is Mark Fields, the head of Ford in the Americas, and here's what he has to say about it.
Well, when you look at our quality, we've had a wonderful performance over the previous 5 years, where every year we were improving on a very consistent basis. This year we did take a hit, and part of it, as you said, was based on our transmission, our dual-clutch transmission, and that was really in an environment where fuel economy is more and more becoming a reason to buy a Ford. We actually use that transmission. It's a great transmission. Customers had some issues around the performance feel of it. So like any, I think, good company, and this is really, I think, endemic of Ford today, we're going to take input from all customers and we're going to learn from it. So we've made some calibration changes on the transmissions, and the feedback from the customers has been fantastic. And on the issue of MyFord Touch, in general, it's been such a positive for the company because customers really like it. They just have told us and gave us input. They want us to make it faster, simpler, and easier. So, not only are we a car and truck company, we're also a technology company now. So we're also learning to work at that clock speed like a software company. So we've taken that input, we've put a couple of upgrades out there, and importantly in our model year 13, which will start in February for some of our vehicles, we're going to offer a performance upgrade not only for our Model 13 year models that have MyFord Touch and My Lincoln Touch, but for all the customers that currently have that. So it's kind of like your smartphone where you call up an app and you're getting an update. We're learning, listening to customers, and I think the true hallmarks of being leaders is not being afraid of pushing the envelope on technology for customer benefit, not just for technology's sake, and then learning from that and taking the input from the customer.
You can watch that entire interview right now on our website at Autoline.tv. Also, you can check out our website, which will show you where you might be able to watch the show on your local public television station. And also joining me on that show are Gene Jennings from Automobile Magazine and Jason Stein from Automotive News. And then as you pile into the mall for one last weekend of Christmas shopping, make sure you think of the Roundabout crew. Craig Cole has more to say about it over at ROAB HQ.
Yes, folks, it's that time of year again, and that means it's time for Roundabout's annual holiday wish list episode. We'll give you a rundown of all the best automotive-themed gifts that ought to be on your shopping list, including a punch bowl the Ford family is trying to track down before the 25th. You have got to hear this story. Our special guest this year is none other than Jim Hall. Perhaps you've heard of him, and you know he'll have some unique insights into the best gifts of the season. Where can you get all of this and more? Well, Autoline.tv, of course, at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, or roughly 3:30 on the West Coast. We'll see you tonight for that. And of course, thanks for joining us for Autoline Daily this week. We hope to see you again back here on Monday.
Ward's is the industry leader for news, data, and analysis. That's why companies across the globe subscribe to our premium service, maybe even your own. Log in for subscriber access now. Check your company's intranet for details and rely on wardsauto.com to keep you informed.